Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. There's so much data out there, audience and editorial data, traffic reports, user data, the list goes on and on. The challenge lies in making sense of it all and using it to grow revenue, audience, and engagement. To address this problem, we've revamped data insights to give you concise and clear reporting for understanding and acting upon the multitude of data that impacts your business. Today, Allie Peters, Senior Product Manager for TownNews, will show off the exciting changes coming to data insights. The presentation will take about 30 minutes, followed by a Q&A. You can type your questions in at any time, but we'll also answer them at the end. The webinar is being recorded, and the link will be shared with you along with handouts and documentation. With that, Allie, let's take a look.
All right, thanks, Cherry. If you are on the call today or received an invite to this call, you currently have access to data insights in the Block CMS. And over the last 5 months, our team's been hard at work to revise the product into a solution that we hope will be part of your daily routine and provide a more straightforward resource for your analytic needs. So here's what we're going to cover today during our call. There is quite a bit of content, so I'm going to try to move through it. So we do have time for your questions at the end. Before we talk about the update, let's talk about how we got here. The existing Data Insights product launched in March of 2020 with just under 20 dashboards and had many different insightful analytics due to the layering of data from multiple sources and sorted into different perspectives to allow users such as yourself to analyze. With the number of dashboards and data points collected, the product honestly could have been considered a cookie cutter business intelligence tool for our clients. As time progressed, about 2 years, we evaluated the success of the product by looking at the impact, the usage, and the changing landscape, which was very eye-opening for us. Of all of our users, only 25% of them were actually using it. And of the almost 20 dashboards, only 2 were of frequent use for those users. One was a general overview, and the other one was Audience Plus related. As far as impact, our customer feedback indicated a few key points. Users were either overwhelmed and unsure of how to use the information to guide their business, or they were frustrated that the product didn't provide the level of detail that they needed. Additionally, during demos, about a third of customers were asking me if we provided real-time data. Additionally, I was looking at the landscape and how it's changed over the last 2 years. I looked at different product alternatives, different collection methods, and our client needs. With more digital touchpoints than ever before, there's more data to be ingested, which is often a double-edged sword when trying to sort through and figure out how to use this data for your company to make decisions and guide your strategy. So we went back to the drawing board, and this time we really focused on the business needs of our clients. The new goal for Data Insights is to provide easy and understandable analytics to clients to help guide their decisions while they're doing their actual jobs, being engaged journalists, creating marketing campaigns, advertising initiatives, subscription models, all the things that you do in your day-to-day that do not include looking at data insights. Here's the areas that we focused on for this upgrade. For KPIs, we wanted to provide quick and valuable reference points in the platform so you can understand where you're at performance-wise. An example of this would be a meter stop rate or an eCPM. For data, we wanted to additionally provide data points, not necessarily KPIs, that are insightful in understanding each business function. So the number of assets produced would be an example. For tools, this one was really critical for us because if you recall, the last product only had 25% overall active users. So we focused a lot on what tools media companies actually want to use in this upgrade. And then invisible to this slide, we looked at data technologies and industry trends. You all know by now, Google is sunsetting GA360, which Data Insights used heavily for a collection method. This new product utilizes GA4, and it will continue transitioning that way over the next several months. It also uses other internally developed tools to make the new product cutting edge when it comes to the data stacks. Okay, let's get to the fun stuff. The new Envision product will be streamlined into simplified dashboards for business functions and also TownNews solutions. We're launching on October 3rd with an editorial dashboard, and quickly after that, a subscription dashboard. The product focus is going to shift from flirting with being a BI tool to simplified, KPI-driven, business function-based dashboards. Lastly, as we're taking away some of the depth of the product, we'll be adding in a trending dashboard, which effectively is going to serve as a real-time dashboard. That one is more of an exciting update, so we're going to be spending more time on that here in a bit. But first, here's a quick comparison of the existing product and the upgraded product. Some of the major features are cross-domain functionality. That was a huge request. A monitor display and public share links, in addition to that trending dashboard I just mentioned. For the editorial and subscription dashboards, we've tried to take what is most important out of the existing product and place it into one single report view. So here's a sneak peek of the editorial dashboard. It's focused on traffic, content, and productivity of newsrooms. This dashboard is a general overview of your content, and it'll include things such as number of local articles produced and how they impact your traffic website, productivity of content producers on your team, and content that is converting if you're on Audience Plus. For subscriptions, this one is going to be focused on block subscription, Audience Plus conversions, and industry standard KPIs. Many data insight users relied on the product as reporting for Audience Plus, and that is still going to be available in this dashboard. Our goal for this dashboard is that it paints a more clear picture as to what the revenue on this dashboard stands for. Subscription is a complicated topic, and we hope through more precise labeling, tool tips, documentation, and FAQ sheets, you can decide how to use these numbers yourself. It is worth noting that some of the data points on this dashboard will be calculated differently than the prior product, so you're really going to want to pay attention to those resources I just mentioned. On top of subscriptions being complicated, it's also difficult to know if your strategy is the most optimized it can be. By using industry standard KPIs, we're hoping to help clients measure their performance in this area. We'll start with the meter stop rate and paid stop conversion rate, but I plan to iterate the product to also include monthly retention rate, monthly churn rate, and ARPU, as well as customer lifetime value, which are all very challenging metrics to produce, particularly if you don't have a data analyst. Both the editorial and subscription dashboards will be updated daily and serve more of a historical data purpose, which brings us to our next dashboard. TownNews has been more focused on data than ever before, and as our data team dug into the GA4 transition, we took a good hard look at the GA4 real-time API. Through some excellent dev work, this trending board came to be, and we're very excited for TownNews to provide a real-time solution for our clients. The trending board will show the last 30 minutes of traffic on your website and update every 10 minutes. The UI will also update anywhere from 2 to 7 minutes, which you'll see with some performance indicators. The board is also configurable for monitor displays in the newsrooms. However, our beta testers have been using it more often on their desktops and mobile devices as they find the clickable headlines extremely helpful. Real-time data is a completely different data stack than historical data, but we feel it's something valuable to newsrooms and exciting enough for them to use on a daily basis. The business function dashboards will be accessible in the same UI, and we hope that engages users to look at that data in addition to the trending dashboard. There's a lot of buzz around real-time data in the media industry, and there are a handful of very successful companies out there selling it right now. To get an external opinion on this solution, I've invited Kyle Rickoff, our TownNews trusted advisor, to talk about his extensive experience with real-time data solutions. As some of you know, Kyle has a lot of knowledge on analytics and solutions, as well as TownNews products and how media clients can leverage them. So welcome, Kyle. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Allie. Thanks for joining the call today. When we talk about live data, it sounds really attractive. It's been in the marketplace for, over 10 years at this point. And newsrooms really use it based on big boards to introduce transparency to readers' interest and staff awareness that digital matters. There's a great part of that, initial revolution within our newsrooms to really start pivoting towards digital. Now, when it comes to expectations of live data monitoring, if it takes time away to review a report or view a live report, there's cost and value. So that's where we look at kind of building out P&Ls on live data compared to some of the competitors you might be familiar with. Live report monitoring is no different. If everything's changing, nothing's changing. So, I talk to a lot of folks about this type of expectations that you're putting on the newsroom or your 1 or 2 digital platform directors that like, oh, we've got live data, things are changing on the website, are we moving the deck chairs? So really, when you're going through and you're buying a high-end product that has lots of features, what are you actually using? What are you using day to day? And does that match with your expectations? So here, if you just got a staffer and they're checking every 10 minutes, that's 240 decisions in a week. That's, I would put in an unreasonable category, both on what's going to drive the success for your newsroom and how many of those actions are going to drive a result. So that's where TownNews was able to kind of come up with a more disruptive solution here that really manages the cost to you and puts it more in line with the expectations of live newsroom monitoring. So when we come to the expectations, there's really 2 pieces there. When you look at a live report, are you going to move stuff on your homepage? Are you going to produce a new story? Are you going to add videos and photos? These get really deep into something that you've already put your reporting efforts into publishing. So as a digital director and working with folks across the industry, it really gets down to these 2 things. Is you've got tools to send out news alerts, either on social, through TownNews Notifier, browser notification. So you sent a news alert, did the traffic go up? We expect people to read the story about the bridge closure or, this traffic accident, this house fire. Why isn't it getting traffic? Did my automation not work? That's a nice, simple thing for a newsroom to look at, monitor, and see, did we get the results? And then the other piece that I know editors love, but is more rare, especially if you're monitoring live data, is unexpected things. So why is the story taking off, especially if it is an older or evergreen item? And we've seen great use cases where an older crime story just started trending and they found out a national podcast on true crime did a story on it. So people were just Googling and searching it, and they were able to then take action to drive that trend, create new content, recycle some of the older pieces and go. And that's just more of, again, newsrooms monitoring and setting expectations around that. So when it gets to live data monitoring, really it's what's the value? What do you really expect your newsroom to do to amplify your content? And does that align with some of the costs, whether it is a existing platform that you might have for live data, or if you're trying to use a free tool like Google Analytics, that just simply wasn't kind of made for publishers. And then I've worked with broadcasters and publishers that have tried to leverage data platforms to kind of generate their own live data. And then it just becomes part of documentation, maintenance, and you're taking that just kind of operational piece on your own. So that's where it's really exciting to see what TownNews has done here, just to kind of simplify the tech stack, do the measurement and stuff for you, and then deliver you clean and simple embedded reports for your newsroom. Allie and Sherry, back to you.
Thanks, Kyle. All right, a demo. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to show you guys kind of a demo of the platform that we have here and the dashboards available to you, and then we'll jump back to the deck. The first thing that you'll notice on the platform is that it's in dark mode. So your eyes may have adjusted there for a minute. The purpose being for that viewability when the information's on a monitor. So I'm going to give you guys kind of a walkthrough of the pieces on the monitor here. This is the new UI. The first dashboard that you're going to jump into is the trending dashboard. As far as the platform filters that you have here, you can toggle between multiple websites, cross-domain functionality, or duplicate. So if I wanted to put in 2 websites here, I could definitely put in, North Platte, Telegraph, and Lincoln Journal Star, and filter down the dashboard and the whole down to those domains. On the upper right here, you have your ability to log in and log out, and then also a share link, which I'm going to talk about a little bit more here in a minute. So the first dashboard you have here is the trending dashboard. As in the presentation, it shows a 30-minute window of traffic on your website, and it updates every 10 minutes. You'll also see some performance indicators. Currently, right now, it doesn't look like we have anything on fire, but that one's exciting to see. You can kind of see when you don't have any domains filtered down, it'll show you what websites you have, as well as the percent of subscribers on that article, and then the views. We have prioritized it by users, individual seats, and eyeballs that we're trending to. There's a couple filters on the trending dashboard. You can filter by content type. So for our broadcasters, you can filter by articles and videos, collections, or HTML assets. The reason that the default is to article is most of our clients have different assets on their website. So if I remove this article, it should show like e-edition traffic and those types of things. So we kind of keep that on there to keep it towards the asset side of things. You can also enter any section. We have a couple out of the box sections listed here, but I could filter it down to any section by just entering it and clicking. But I don't really want to do that right now, so I'm going to remove that filter. On the trending board, if you click an article, you can see a little bit more information about it. And this is what I mentioned earlier about how our beta testers, they really they like the monitor display, but more often they find themselves using the desktop or mobile device because they can get the clickable headline details, which tells them more about an article. So on this view, you can see the title. If you click this box, it'll take you off to the article on your website. You can see active users over the last 24 hours. And for people with subscription models, you can see kind of the total views versus how many percentage of subscribers. Additionally, there's a percentage here for subscribers. This average time, one of the most people really wanted to know how long users were on the site. And that is a metric that we've calculated in the past, but in the GA4 real-time API, GA4 actually provides an average engagement time per active user. So we found this metric to be more insightful than time on article. So this is actually a GA4 metric that shows you the average engagement time per active on this article. You can also drop down and see the type of devices people are using, and then also the sources. A couple of notes with that cross-domain functionality. If you have, or if your company takes advantage of syndication, what will show with no filters is the complete roll-up of that asset. So if you syndicated to 5 sites on this article, you would see the total users across the 5 sites. Excuse me. And we don't have a great example today, but you could see if you want to look at the breakout of the traffic on those top 5 sites, it would be displayed just below here, and additionally as a drop down here. I think there's some screenshots in my documentation that I'll provide you. Additionally, on the trending board, you have overall traffic showing page views in the last 24 hours. I do want to point out that this graph shows the time zone that you're in. So I'm in Wyoming, and I'm in Mountain Daylight Time, so it shows that time zone. It also shows that on the clickable headlines, so you don't have to do the math if you have companies across the United States. Lastly, we have a referral section over the last hour. The one thing that I want to point out on this is we have a metric on here called on-site. A lot of times Google and Facebook want us to think that the only source of traffic we have is from them because it's good for their business. But there's a good chunk of people who are actually on your websites navigating around. So that's what on-site means. We have our performance indicator legend here showing, how we're calculating trending down, how we're calculating trending up, and then also the on fire. I also want to show you, I don't think I clicked to go, the monitor view. So to get the monitor view, all you have to do is simply click this button and you can pull it up on a monitor for a view far away for folks. Additionally, if you have two monitors, your big spender, you can pull up this view on a supplemental monitor so people can see. I'm going to talk about the share link for a second. Every single user that has a login, you get one share link currently. So there's a couple ways to use this, of course. It's a public share link. So I can click copy here and send it to Kyle. Kyle can open it up and it won't ask him to log in. Basically, the share links are public views of the data. The purpose of that is to make it easier to access on your monitor. If you have kind of a tough login process, it's not exactly convenient to do on a monitor. So that's the purpose of the share link. Additionally, let's say I wanted to filter down to my regional location. I typed in Billings Gazette here, and I had that in my, here, we'll just do that. We'll do it really quick. I filtered down to my local location. I wanted a specific section or a specific content type, and I clicked the share link. It will show you what filters you have in place and then ask you to update your share link. The new settings that you save here will override your previous share link. So the other way people use this is they can set their settings. So instead of coming in every single day and filtering down to what I want to see, I can just click the share link, and next time I log in, this is what my view will be. The second dashboard that'll be available on 10.3 is the editorial dashboard. Any filters that you have in place from the trending dashboard should come over here for websites. But now that we're more in a historical instance, you have a date range. So we have last 7 days, last month, last year, and a custom range. So you could do the 15th to the 15th. We've got some, like I said, I've tried to take the most important pieces of information from the previous product and put them over here. We have overall page views and unique users, devices, the device split that people are seeing, the top sources, and it's limited down to 8 because beyond 2%, we're kind of just slicing and dicing, as well as the top locations. When you click the view map, you also get that fun bubble chart that you can see kind of the distribution of the top 100 locations. So that is this left rail. And then we move on to more content specific information. We've got the amount of page views that were generated from article views, collections, and also videos. This graph right here, I carried over from the prior product because I found it interesting. This is the one that shows the page views from Google Analytics and the blocks feed of the number of local articles that you've published. The one thing to note is that there's one scale on the left for page views and another scale on the right for articles. How this has been used in the past is, how is my publishing cadence affecting my page views? So it's actually a pretty interesting graph to look at. Additionally, we have top articles. You can sort them by page views or conversion leads. This client doesn't have any conversions, so we wouldn't be sorting by that. One thing I do want to point out about conversion leads is we have a custom dimension in our data layer that shows us the last 5 articles attributed to a conversion. So that is why they are called leads and not conversions. So you may see a lot of numbers on that if you have Audience Plus. They are effectively leads. As far as sections, top sections for your website, you can sort by page views or assets. This is kind of interesting to see how the number of assets correlates with your page views. It also shows the URL that you've got here. On both of these, I should point out that we are pulling in the top 20, so you can paginate between them. The last section on here is productivity, which is a pretty popular dashboard in the prior product. We're showing the number of assets published and the average word count of them, and then the distribution of what they are: articles, videos, collections. And then we're pulling over a simplified view of the top content producers. So you can sort this one by assets, page views, or those conversion leads, and you've got 20 populated in here. Again, a note on this one: I would strongly encourage your teams to put themselves as the default author on any asset they create, so that this is helpful to you. They have to put their name on it in order for us to count it. So just a quick shout out on that one. Lastly, the subscription dashboard is, it will not be available on Monday, but it should be available mid-month. So the subscription dashboard, the only difference on this one is on the website filters, they should carry over, but the time ranges are only by month. That is basically to show revenue by month. It makes it more complicated if we're showing it by day. So simplifying it into by month will be a lot better information for you guys. We have kind of our subscription revenue, total subscribers, new subscribers, total transaction revenue, and new transaction revenue. This has changed from the prior product of total revenue and new revenue. We are changing this to be transaction revenue collected in the period. So if somebody came on and purchased a year-long subscription on the middle of the 15th, all of that revenue is going to be counted in this rather than broken out and trying to add it up. The prior product was providing more estimations of what it should be, which was confusing for some people. So this is actual transaction revenue for the month you have selected. We have our service rate ID grid, which should be familiar to you. You can sort by rate ID or service ID, an improvement from the last product. Previously, your service IDs were the actual IDs, like 1, 2, 3, 4. I did get the service names in here, so it's easier for you guys to sort by. Industry standard KPIs. As mentioned in the presentation, we've got meter stop rate and paid stop conversion rate. If you hover over and look at the tooltips, it shows you how we're calculating them. The calculation that we're using is based on the Lenfest Institute of Journalism calculation. I know that there's many ways to calculate these things, so we just wanted to show you how we're calculating them in this dashboard for you. The last section is related to Audience Plus. If you have that product, it shows the conversions by access role. Each access role you have is on the left, and you can click into it to see which subscriptions you have set up that led to conversions. At the bottom here, we also have conversions by month. This is the only item on this dashboard that doesn't listen to the filter that you have selected for the time range. I thought it was fun to see over time, what are your strong months of conversion and not. Then also your top 10 assets by conversion here. I think that we're going to remove this and just have it be top assets by conversion so you can paginate through them. Everybody can blink a couple times because we're going from dark mode to light mode. And we're headed back here. Okay, so now that you've seen the platform, hopefully you're excited to get started. And I've put together a few recommendations that I want to share with the group. First of all, from our perspective, as time goes on, there's only going to be more data accessible to your company, and it's a great time to start introducing data to everybody in your organization. Being transparent with data helps build a data-focused culture, which will hopefully translate to every person in your company asking about the performance of their work and trying to understand if their work is resonating with the audience. Not everyone in a company can be a data analyst. It's actually a very specialized role. But everyone in your company can understand the general analytics related to their work. In addition to building a data culture, sharing this information with your company hopefully builds trust with your employees and a sense of pride in their work. Here's some various roles in your organization, and many of them are news related. but you can see in the very bottom row how even general employees might find site traffic and popular content interesting and also fulfilling to their jobs. In demos with the previous product, a common question I was asked was, how do I use this to make decisions? And it's hard to translate a number on a dashboard into action. In the future, I'm hoping to provide improvements that will make the data actionable, such as showing prior period comparison and providing notifications. But in the meantime, here's some ideas to think about when you're looking at these dashboards that may lead to action. So for trending, as Kyle mentioned, most of these decisions are going to be reaction based. So items like, this piece of content is popular. Have I distributed it on all my channels? Or what is on the trending board that should not be, and what is not on the trending board that should be? And also, can I replicate the results of this trending story, or is it just an anomaly? For editorial, it's broken into two groups. The first being understanding your traffic. So are your distribution channels driving as much traffic as you would like? How does your publishing cadence affect your traffic? Is your website optimized for the devices that your audience is consuming your content on? And what types of content are being consumed on your website? For understanding output, you can think about how many assets are in each section. Do the number of assets in each section affect the page views equally? How many multimedia assets are you producing, and what is the performance of those? And additionally, we have that content producer performance area. Subscriptions is also broken into two groups. The first section being driving conversions. So what content or topics are driving conversion? And then also, what is the performance of Audience Plus or your smart paywall? The second grouping is defining success with KPIs. So what KPIs will indicate success of this job or project? Are any of my KPIs concerning, and how do I improve them? Is our company even using this KPI? What is our goal for it? Overall, data is only going to help you if you use it. And so I strongly encourage groups to catch up with their teams and determine what pieces of data are important to each job and each project, and set goals for them and discuss how they can improve. All right, so product transition. Currently, you'll see two data insights menus in blocks. This solution that I showed you today is labeled as upgrade. And when you click on it, it's going to open in a separate tab. You will have access to the previous product through October, but after October, we're going to be removing that link from the blocks menu. By Monday, at least one person in your organization will have been contacted about your company's login. They've been invited to the platform, and they've been provided directions on how to invite the rest of your team. If your company does have a Google Workspace SSO connection, many of you did, that has been enabled. You'll have to log in first, and then you'll be able to use the Google Workspace connection moving forward. To help you get started, I'll be following this call up with this getting started checklist. Again, you can see at the bottom of this, introducing these products to your team and discussing KPIs and setting goals is important. But also important is celebrate. As you build a data culture and your employees start asking about what the data says and you hit your KPI goals, you should celebrate it. I've been at the local level and I've seen celebrations such as ice cream sundae bars or taco bars or $5 coffee cards or a simple shout out in an email. All of them acknowledge that your company set a goal to be more engaged with data and they've succeeded with that goal, and it's worth the shout out. Lastly, if building a data culture is of interest to you, or you want to know more about how your organization can effectively use data, give Kyle Rickoff a call. He's launched tools like this himself and assisted other companies in successfully doing so. He can also provide guidance on how to leverage TownNews products to improve the stats on these dashboards. Okay, we're coming to a close here, but I'm not done yet. Here's my roadmap for the next year of this product. So in the next 3 months, I'm going to be focusing on notifications and trending dashboard improvements. In the next 6 months, I want to provide a revenue-based dashboard similar to what you have in the existing product, and also improve some of those share link functions. And then in the next year, I want to provide a video plays dashboard. If you're a broadcaster and you're on this call, I hear you. I know you don't have a subscription model, but more importantly to you is the consumption of video. And I really, really want to provide a video plays dashboard. The GA4 analytics has a lot better video type data in it, and I'm really excited to dive into it. Also, I want to provide better user management and some subscription dashboard improvements. So that is what I had for today. And I'm going to have Cherry help me with the Q&A, if there's any Q&As.
Allie, that was such a great overview. Right now, we don't have any questions, but we'll open the floor for it if anyone would like to put them in. Really good information and really much easier to see. So we're really excited about that. Kyle, do you have anything you want to add while we see if anyone's got any questions?
The only one that I see on my side is just kind of around competitor costs. You do have to get, you've got your setup with your data insights now, but competitors do cost, I've seen up to 10 to 15x more than what you're currently using for data insights. So if you were looking at other alternatives in the marketplace, the TownNews solution is more in line with the P&Ls that I mentioned before.
Great.
Great call out.
Allie, if there's anyone on this call that hasn't been contacted yet, how do they get started?
So I will personally be sending an email to them by Monday, and Data Insights will send you an email invite to get you logged in and directions on how to invite your team. So keep an eye out for that Data Insights email and an email from me. If you have trouble logging in, you can reach out to me or respond to that email. It is off the Blocks platform. So I know it may be a little bit more challenging, but I would love to take the time to help you guys get in and share with your team, because I really think it's going to be a great improvement for everybody to look at data and in a more digestible format than the previous one. So
great. We had a question come in. Can you filter editorial and real-time data by whether or not it's local?
So a lot of the editorial dashboard, if it is filtered by local assets published, I think there is some Associated Press stuff in there. I will have to look at that. I know that's important. So I'll look at that one and get back to you.
And Allie, I can chime in here as well. I mean, really, it does come down to your own tagging. So Allie showed some of the features around section filtering. So it really does kind of come down to that. Even with Associated Press, what is your workflow for that? So the system can identify through the metadata that, yeah, this is locally produced or not. When I'm working with newsrooms, is it local? Is a little bit of navel gazing a little bit, where it's like, this is doing really well on your site, even if it's a national story or shared from another sister paper. So if you can identify success, how can you build off of that? So that's more, source agnostic. So that's where, even with a regional or a national story, and there's a lot of traffic on, let's say, the latest piece with from special master. Okay, is there a local commentary piece or an opinion piece that was produced locally that you could attach to that to then drive traffic? So, I mean, if you've got an audience where you're seeing on that dashboard those little icons that Allie put on there, okay, how can I turn that into local traffic? How can I get that 1 click to be 2 clicks? But for filtering purposes, it really does come down to your local workflow tagging and using some of the features Allie pointed out.
Great question. Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate the input. Allie, you really did a great job explaining the way it's going to be, and we're really excited about it.
Great. Well, I hope you all enjoy the product, and I would love to hear from you. I do have a roadmap, but if you're seeing something that I gapingly missed, I want to hear from you. So let me know if you find any of those or if you have any questions on the product. Thanks everyone for attending, and I will be following up this webinar with some resources that I mentioned earlier.
Everyone have a great day.